Chapter 15. Don't. Side by side, the pair slept comfortably next to one another. Chomper was the first to move when the night became day, blinking and noticing Ruby held tightly to the rose. Funny how he was holding her, thinking she looked so adorable next to him. With a half grin, his eyes scanned the horizon, seeing a familiar land path, along with other figures. With a gasp, he rose, stirring Ruby in the process. Up, Ruby glanced around with a sleepy gaze. "What's wrong?"
"The land path. It's reappeared."
"So? What's that mean?"
"It means other Sharptooth can come here." Chomper spoke with fear in his voice.
"Well, we can hide. We'll be okay."
"Ruby, I might not be strong enough to protect you."
"You seem to forget I survived in the mysterious beyond long before we met," Ruby added, a bit harsher than she intended.
"I didn't mean it like that. I just won't be able to live with myself if something were to happen to you,"
Chomper blurted out, growling slightly. Lowering his head and placing a hand to his muzzle, he sighed. "I didn't mean to bare my fangs." It was the first time he made such a primal sound, clearly worried for her over himself. Still, Ruby wished he wouldn't put so much pressure on himself. "Sorry I raised my voice too. It's hard for me to imagine not looking after you, especially since I looked after you for so long. You're clearly grown and don't need me anymore." Eyes soft, she turned away from his gaze. Going to her, he rubbed her with his muzzle.
"No, Ruby, I may not be small, but in some way, I need you still,"
Chomper said, wanting to confess something he held in for so long.
"For you see, Ruby, ever since I left, I've kept a secret with me, carried it for many seasons."
Spinning to face him, her eyes locked onto his. "What bothers you?"
"Ruby."
His eyes looked from her, noticing movement.
"Ruby, do you trust me?"
"Yes, of course, Chomper," Ruby answered, holding the flower, and unaware a group of fast biters emerged from the forest and were quickly approaching them.
"Good, then hold on tight to me." Chomper picked Ruby up in his small yet strong arms, carrying her from the pack.
They were faster than Chomper, catching up to him in no time, sweeping around him like a swarm of stinging buzzers. Leaping up and clawing, they bit his body that shielded Ruby, who was tucked safely in his hold. She peered out, eyes wide with fear, hearing them screech. He grimaced, huffing for air while the pack continued to follow him, never letting up. "Fool, why do you protect that meal?" asked one, latching onto Chomper's shoulder and trying to claw at Ruby.
"Don't touch her,"
Chomper growled, biting the fast biter and tossing him away.
"Hurt me, but don't lay a claw on her."
"Stupid. How long do you think you can handle the power of the pack upon you?" The several clawed onto him, trying to weigh him down, some snapping or clawing his legs. "Stop it! You're hurting him!" shouted Ruby, eyes welling with tears. She saw Chomper's skin was covered in cuts. It pained her, made her feel helpless. Blood poured down his face, legs trembling from the amount of pressure they put on him. A couple or more clamped onto his back and tail. Unable to take another step, he was brought to his knees, hunching over to keep Ruby safe. His body shook, vision blurry, and the sounds around came in and out. But one thing was clear, Ruby's desperate cries. "Chomper! Chomper! Don't give up! You're stronger than this! I know it!" Ruby yelled, leaning into him and hoping he wouldn't give up. For despite his kind disposition, she knew under all that there was a great, powerful being, one that could stand up for what was right. "Chomper, rise! Fight!" Chomper heard her pleas, realizing he had to do whatever it took to keep her safe, to protect the one he cared for, cherished above all else. Some part of him snapped. The beast within was summoned by Ruby, awakened, motivated to get up. Throwing his body, he sent the many fast biters airborne, roaring loudly. Sweeping his tail, he swept them away, taking off once again. The pack caught up and attacked, making him weave back and forth, not paying attention where he was going. Ruby gazed up, glancing to see a tree not too far away. "Watch out!" she called, gripping his arms tightly. Stumbling side to side, Chomper found himself crashing into the trunk of a blossoming tree, groaning from the impact. Petals fell like sky sparkles, Chomper tumbling and sliding down the little slope to come to a stop. From the ledge, the pack came, pouncing to kill him. Chomper got to his feet and opened his great jaw, biting and throwing one into a few, slashing and sending his tail to grip one who went for Ruby. On the ground, Ruby watched in awe, seeing him fight and battle like a vicious Sharptooth. Ironically, he didn't kill them, only hurting or scaring them off. "This isn't over, freak. We'll be back for the food when the land path is visible again. And we'll have reinforcement, like Red Claw, Screech, and Thud. You'll be no match for them," one called, fleeing with the pack. Chomper huffed, standing tall till they were out of sight. Unable to hold his own weight, he collapsed to the earth with a thunderous thud. Lying there, he thought about what the leaders said. Red Claw, the one who slaughtered his parents, hated him. If they were to come, they'd show no mercy to him or Ruby. There'd be no bargaining, no way of keeping her safe. It pained him to think they'd have to part ways again, but at least he could send her off with a proper goodbye. "Chomper, are you all right? Can you hear me?" Ruby asked, rubbing her hands over his injured body. "Oh, Chomper, please answer me." Eyes opening, he saw the blurry outline of Ruby, her face coming in clearly, tears running down each cheek. "Ruby, you're not hurt, are you?" Shaking her head, she kept the rose to her heart. "I'm fine, thanks to you." "You must go. Leave here at once," he spoke. "What?" Ruby was surprised by his words, wondering why he'd say such things. "They're going to come back, with Red Claw." His eyes were pleading, hoping she'd understand. "I can't promise your safety." "That doesn't matter. I'll stay. Be here when they come." "No, you'll go back to the Great Valley where you belong." Her lower lip trembled, crying with anger now. "I won't leave you here to die alone." "So you die with me?" "Yes. If it comes down to it, I will die by your side, proud to stand with you." "Don't you get it? I can't lose you again!" Chomper shouted back, getting up to his full height. "So please, just go!" Huffing, he turned from her, hanging his head low and sniffing. "I want to be alone, can't you see that?" Ruby stood, knowing he hid something, kept things from her. He yelled and tried to act scary, to be ferocious, but she knew it was simply an act and nothing more. For the Chomper she knew was scared, alone in the world, like she felt. There was only one way to convince him, to prove she would remain by him through the ups and the downs, no matter what life threw at them. Don't you wish we tried? Do you feel what I feel inside? You know our love is stronger than pride. No, don't. Don't let your anger grow. Just tell me what you need me to know. Please talk to me, don't look away. Oh, 'cause I wanna hear you, I wanna be near you. Don't fight, don't argue. Give me the chance to say that I'm sorry. Just let me love you. Don't turn me away,
don't tell me to go. Don't give up on trust. Don't give up on me or us. If we can just hold on long enough, we can do it. We can get through this. Don't fight, don't argue. Just give me the chance to say that I'm sorry. Just let me love you. Don't turn me away. Don't tell me to go. Don't pretend that it's okay. Things won't get better that way. Don't do something you might regret someday. Don't give up on me. No, don't. We can do it. We can do this. Don't fight, don't argue. Just give me the chance to say that I'm sorry. Just let me love you. Don't turn me away. Don't tell me to go. Oh, don't fight. Don't argue. Don't give up on me. Give me the chance to say that I'm sorry. Just let me love you. Don't give up on me. Don't turn me away. Don't tell me to go. No, don't. Don't fight. Don't argue. Give me the chance to say that I'm sorry. Just let me love you. Don't give up on me. Don't turn me away. Don't tell me to go.
While his back was to her, he heard every single word she sang, feeling his heart melt. Eyes welling, he was overcome with emotion, unable to believe she actually cared for him the way he did for her, that she was willing to die by his side so long as they were together. Ruby, the fast runner who ran away with his heart. She stood by him, seeing he was crying. Now you know the truth that I held back. So it's your turn to reveal your secrets. I'm here as I've always been. Sitting, he was able to lean into her, albeit awkwardly. Still, it felt soothing to feel her body against him. I don't want you to go, but I fear what will happen if you stay. I care deeply for you, Chomper, deeper than any fast runner had for a Sharptooth. Remember how we were going to change the mysterious beyond, mold it into the Great Valley? He spoke, sniffing a little. Foolish dreams of younglings, huh? I don't know about that. Anything is possible. Ruby patted him, laying her head atop his snout and looking into his eyes. Especially if it comes from a good place. They stood there, Chomper crying for the first time in several years, Ruby shedding a few tears herself. The dream to change the mysterious beyond was fruitless, knowing that only one held power, control, and that was Red Claw. Red Claw seized power after a powerful Sharptooth was knocked off his pedestal by Littlefoot and his friends long ago, opening up for many to come forth and fight to take his place. It was an old tradition, yet sacred and obeyed by all. That included Chomper.